If you're concerned about an elderly relative, and you know, some of the questions we have, what could cause or bring on dementia? Well, there's a new study. Take note of this. A study out of the Netherlands found a potential link, again, potential link here, between feelings of loneliness and dementia. Jennifer Bixler's here with us now, executive producer for CNN's medical unit. Okay, so obviously we get a study. What was the study all about? It you and I talked about it. It starts with 2,000 elderly people. Take it from there.
Yeah, here's what they did in the Netherlands. They took around 2,000 elderly people who were living independently and showed no signs of dementia. And they asked them a series of questions at that point, including, do you feel lonely? Then fast forward 3 years, and they did a series of tests. They tested their physical health, their mental abilities. They also asked how they were doing with routine daily activities, and then they went back and asked some of those questions again. And here's the intriguing finding. They found that people who said they felt lonely were 64% more likely to go on to develop dementia. Now, this is really super intriguing. Experts I spoke to said this is really, really interesting stuff, but they caution that this is far from conclusive. So in other words, if you have a relative who seems lonely, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to develop dementia, but it's definitely intriguing.
And I hear you using your words carefully, intriguing, because people hear this, and there's a lot of people out there that have relatives, and they're thinking, okay, I hear this, go, wait a minute. So is that number one now? Make sure that elderly relative gets connected with other people? Is that going to be the key to a good life and to stave off dementia?
Everybody I spoke to said yes, like absolutely. If you see that your relatives, like they lose a loved one or something, make sure that help them get involved in things. Like, for example, senior centers have lots of wonderful activities, or maybe their church has activities, but it's really important for them to be connected, because there is this research out there that shows that it can reduce your stress levels, and also it can help you maintain healthy connections among brain cells. Because if you feel connected, then you feel valuable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's key, feelings of loneliness versus being alone or living alone. I mean, what is the difference there? Because I'm sure there are some people that are elderly that live alone that are great and probably involved in a lot of activities, and others maybe not so much.
Well, just think about the difference between introverts and extroverts. Introverts need that alone time. That's not what they're talking about here. What they're talking about here are people who feel disconnected from family, from friends, from life. That's what they're talking about. And here is why that's important. There's this intriguing data out there that says when people feel lonely, or that finds that when people feel lonely, it activates the inflammatory immune system, and that can change brain functioning. And when loneliness persists for a long time, combined with things such as genetic factors, a bad diet, lack of exercise, it can increase the chances of dementia.
Isn't that something? I mean, and again, and I appreciate you using your words so carefully about intriguing, but a lot of this gets back to just the heart cry of, you know, I matter still. I still want to live a life of value, whether you can work a little bit or just be connected to other people, right? I mean, is that a foolproof way to stave off dementia? From what I'm hearing, you're saying no, but it can't hurt, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing, is that it's about meaning. It's also about physical activity. It's about the fact that you're more likely or less likely to develop dementia or stave off dementia if you're physically active. One of the researchers I spoke with today said to even do one step better, don't just get on the treadmill, get out there and exercise. You get the sunshine, you get the fresh air, you get the interaction with the people, and that's really good. And then this was something else that I thought I would share with you. A researcher pointed out to me there's this interesting evidence out there that suggests that if you learn a second language, you're less likely to develop dementia.
Interesting. Again, value, hope, learning, something to look forward to. Right?
And overall, absolutely.
Okay. Good stuff, Jennifer. Always good talking to you. Thanks again.